Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. On this channel, we talk about child health and child development issues. So let's start with today's topic. Today being the World Autism Awareness Day, I have chosen to talk about some of the myths related to autism spectrum disorder. So let's go one by one. So the first myth I want to talk about is autism is caused by bad parenting. This is definitely not true. And the cause of autism, let me tell you, is it's not entirely known yet. And it's just known that autism can be caused by a combination of genetic and environmental factors. So there is a predisposition because of some genetics and environment, like say a child watching too much screen time, or parents not being able to spend quality time with the child not being exposed to other children around. So these are some of the factors that can, when mixed with genetic factors, it can lead to autism spectrum disorder. But only bad parenting causing autism spectrum disorder, it's a definite no. Let's go on to the next myth. So the second myth is autism is a mental illness. It is not a mental illness. It is only a developmental disorder which predominantly affects the social and communication domains of development in a child. So generally in child development, like in development, we have four main domains, which is the gross motor, fine motor, social and language. In autism spectrum disorder, the social and the language domains are affected. So let's move on to the third myth. So autism can be treated by giving medicines, bone marrow transplants or immunotherapy. These are definitely not true. In fact, even recently a hospital in Navi Mumbai was sued by the government for practicing bone marrow transplantations for children with autism spectrum disorder. So be aware, the only scientifically proven methods for treating autism spectrum disorder are early intervention and therapy. Let's move on to the next myth. So the next myth is that people with autism are all the same. Autism is a spectrum disorder. So this is not true. What you mean by a spectrum disorder is all the people affected by autism are at different ends of the spectrum. So all of them are unique and they have their own set of challenges and weaknesses and strengths. So it is not that all people with autism will have the same behavior, will be the same, will have the same severity. That is not true. Children with autism, the next myth is children with autism do not need any treatment and become fine on their own. This is again not true. Children with autism, if you do not intervene early, they do not become fine on their own, and in fact their condition keeps worsening by the day, and then it becomes very difficult to integrate them into regular school. And also not just schooling, but also for them to lead a normal life. So therefore it is very important that we diagnose early and we start early intervention. So every child who is suspected to have autism spectrum disorder should be seen by a developmental pediatrician, a psychologist and speech therapist, occupational therapist, special educator if required. And all of these people have to sit together and form an individualized plan for every child, and this plan is what needs to be followed. Let's move on to the next myth. The next myth is that attending special education and therapies is sufficient for children with autism spectrum disorder and parents do not have any role to play. This is not true. Parents in fact have a major role to play. When you take a child for therapy, the amount of time you spend at the therapy center is maximum 1.5 to 2 hours in a day, but the rest of the time the child is at home. So parents have a major role to play in the child's development. So when you are going to a therapy center, what you can do is you can ask the therapist for any tips or any homework that you can follow with your child at home, and they should be able to help you out with it. So having heard all the myths and facts about autism spectrum disorder that we have discussed in this video, by now you must have realized that getting a diagnosis of autism spectrum disorder for your child is not the end of the world, and there is a lot that you can do as parents. It is hard work, it is a slow process, but it is very fruitful. So let's help our children and let's help build the society in a more inclusive way and make the world a better place for everyone. Take care. Subscribe for more such videos, and if you have any questions, do leave them in the comment section. I will be more than happy to answer your queries. Stay safe.